Hi, I'm Mark Soltau for the Buck Cardinal Club, and we're here with Alex Karakozoff, a new inductee to the 2015 Stanford Athletics Hall of Fame, class of 1977 football. Congratulations, Alex.
Hey, thanks very much.
You were Stanford's first all Pac-8 first team guard 2 years in a row, which is something obviously you got to be pretty proud of. You don't get a lot of recognition playing guard. How did you do it?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. In 4 years, I probably had the most minutes of anybody played, and I never got player of the game. So I got it once, and I was fortunate enough to recover 2 fumbles on the punt team. And I actually begged to be on the punt team, because as an offensive lineman, there's only a couple things that happen to you. They yell at you for 2 things. They'll yell at you if you get a sack, and they yell at you if you get a holding call. So I wanted to be somewhere where I could do something positive. So I begged to stay on the punt team. So I had the 2 fumble recoveries caused by James Lofton, who's a great Hall of Famer here, and he was a fantastic tackler, people don't realize. So I got up to the radio booth, and I walked up, and there was Bob Murphy, a very famous personality in Stanford sports. And he said, "Alex, what are you doing here? You're an offensive lineman." I said, "Bob, I recovered 2 fumbles that turned the tide of the Oregon game." He said, "I'll let you up here just this once." So that's my Bob Murphy story.
That sounds like Murph, by the way. You were all West Coast in 75 and 76, and then an honorable mention All-American, and I imagine it had to be equally special for you to be a local guy from St. Ignatius Prep in San Francisco to kind of make your way here and have a great career.
Well, it was really kind of special because people don't know, but my father went to USC and played football. He was there for 2 years. In his era, he hurt his knee, and he ended up losing his scholarship because you didn't get paid if you weren't playing. And we had a good history of San Francisco guys. Albert Tambrudenkati, who will be at the induction tonight. Bruce Barker came after me, and so we had a pretty good city contingent. But it was quite a unique experience for me because I had opportunities to go to Notre Dame, USC, and different places. But Stanford, with the reputation for education and the school being, quite frankly, we were Rose Bowl champs, and we had a very good rep. Getting to be all Pac-8, I didn't know anything about that idea when I came to Stanford. And we've been known as Quarterback U at the time, and I was very fortunate to be in good timing. We had a great coach, Coach Hauk, who went on to be one of the top assistants in the pros. So I attribute a lot of my success to Coach Hauk and to the 4 other guys that played on the line, because what people don't understand, and obviously this community does, I like to call the offensive line, they're essentially the synchronized swimming of football. We're only as good as the other 4 guys. And so I was there, and as we look back on films, and you can actually look up some of our films online, I realized that what part of my success was really I was a very smart player and rarely made mistakes. And in the offensive line, it's not so much what you do, but it's what you don't do. And if you don't make mistakes, that's when runners get sprung, and that's when receivers have time for the quarterback to throw the ball. And we had very good passing games, and in my junior year we had a fantastic running game. Not quite what we have today, but for Stanford standards, it was very good.
Well, speaking of that, you and the other inductees were introduced last night at the Stanford-UCLA game, and Stanford's running game has really exploded again this season, and obviously the offensive line is evolved in one of the best, if not the best, in the country right now. That's got to give you some pride.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these guys are really good. I have a hard time following the ball in the games because I'm always watching the linemen. And I still have a lot of close friends that we played football together. And that's one of the things about the Stanford community in sports. I talk to my friends in other schools, and they don't have near the camaraderie we do because for the most part, most of the guys, have done really well. In my graduating class and the 4 years that I played, we had over 85% of the players go to graduate school. So we have this common intellectual and common athletic bond, and so we kind of analyze things a little bit. And these guys are in my opinion, they have the best year in, year out offensive line in the country. And you can't, you have a winning program, and Coach Shaw knows that, and it keeps a winning program having a team like that.
You've done very well after school and business. How did Stanford set you up, for your post-football life? And tell us what you're doing today.
Well, I'm the product of a great Jesuit high school, St. Ignatius, and today it's probably one of the best schools in Northern California. In my era, it was a lot of middle-class Catholic kids coming to school, and academics were a very strong part of that culture. And as I came to Stanford, we had a very strong academics, but we also had world-class people. I mean, when you're competing against the top 1%, at least in the United States in those days, and today it's the top 1% in the world, I mean, you have to up your game. And, it took me a while because I used to go into meetings, and I started in the computer industry at the beginning of Silicon Valley. I wish I would have known more about what it was going to be. I would have run my career differently, but it was, I learned to compete with the best, and both academically and athletically. And, the schools that try and do it athletically and not academically, I don't think they're setting up the kids for success, because you have to be a champion in all aspects of your life. And that's what my father taught me, not in just one.
Finally, the Buck Cardinal Club is instrumental in supporting our 36 sports and our 900 student athletes. Can you just talk about how that helped you and continues to help other student athletes here?
Well, there's been a big change, because I was telling people in my era, I think we gave out about 75 scholarships full and maybe 10 partials. And the other schools were giving out 120 to 140 scholarships. So, I'm not the best mathematician, but I can add that up. And I think that the growth in the monies that the team and the school and the athletics department has raised allows us not only to bring in the best athletes, but in my era we had great athletes, but we didn't have the depth. And I think I can speak for football that the depth of the team today, particularly on the defensive line when you lose just about everybody, and to have the kind of performance they've had, what the Buck Club has done has been nothing short of phenomenal, especially considering the cost of a Stanford education.
Well, congratulations on your induction. Have a great night tonight, and continued success throughout your life.
Hey, great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.